1 2 1 2. Primus, nikumbushe jina. I need some more info. Ngoja nakwambia sasa hivi ke. Nakwambia sasa hivi. Alafu tutaupload baadaye kwa YouTube. Sawa. All right. 1 2. All right. For the viewers at home, karibu sana. Welcome to this live stream. We're coming to you live from SWAHILIPOT Hub grounds. Karibu sana to the page you're on. You could be on the SWAHILIPOT Hub page. You could be on the Global Opportunity Youth Network page. Karibu sana. My name is Michelle Otieno and I will be your host today. And we have one thing in mind today. We want to talk to you about an issue that has struck Kenyans so much. Have you gotten those SMSs where it reaches around April and you're being told that you have a few months to file your returns and you're told by June is the deadline? So one, kuna wale hawajui, how do I even start filing my returns, you know? And then there's that word, file your returns. If you've not done anything, file nil. I was one of those people who used to fall under that bracket. Nil, sielewi, as in, how do I file nil? So, you know, those are some of the questions that happen. And for those people who have not filed their returns in like, I don't know how long, you know, you can count so many years. You filed your return. Those people, and you know, you are in a certain criteria where your company or the office you used to work for used to file your returns. Then unfortunately, by one means or another, labda ulifutwa kazi, ama ulihama kazi kwengine, mali vitu kama hizi zilikuwa zifanywe. And you're wondering, I have not done this in a while, and you're being told there is a fine. The other day, we were hearing people were getting a waiver. All you had to do is go. You go and you file and you get a waiver. Waiver for what? You know, these are some of those questions. So when it comes to the economy, it comes to legal entity, when you're thinking of withholding tax, where these ETR and things like that. If you're as green as me, you are on the right platform, because today courtesy of Pure Pearl Foundation, SWAHILIPOT Hub Foundation. We are coming to you courtesy of Global Opportunity Youth Network for this. I would say, I won't call it a training. It's a one-on-one. I would love to say that. And the guy who's coming here to talk to you is someone who is, yani, pesa ndio CV yake. Si ati ana pesa. Sijasema hivyo. Isije ukampata nje alafu ukasema tulisikia yule MC akisema wewe uko na pesa. Wajua pesa kukua CV yako inamaanisha he can account your money, he can make sure when your taxes come you are set huwezi fatwa, because I know in countries like the United States of America, there's a company called the IRS. International, they deal with all these things about taxes, and people get arrested for this because they have not paid their taxes. So can it also affect us as Kenyans? What are the implications? These are the type of questions we're dealing with, especially when your finance is at stake and matters regarding your taxes. So the guy coming is an accountant, courtesy of Salu Solutions. He is well equipped in matters related to taxation. He's going to be talking to us, and I would love, if you have any question, especially you who is watching at home, please don't worry. We're going to have a question and answer session immediately following his presentation. So kama uko na swali na labda unaona utasahau, enda tu hapo kwa comment section. Hapo chini kwa comment section, enda uandike swali yako. There is no problem. Your question will be addressed. Don't worry. So you can do that as the presentation is going on. Atasema kitu, I do not understand. Please explain to me what you meant by this. So now at the end of the presentation, he will address your questions and get to give you more information. We'll get to know more about him because the guy coming here is known as Primus Wafula. Primus Wafula, courtesy of Pure Pearl Foundation, they went and got us an expert who can actually let us know, and by the end of this presentation, ensure that we are safe. So, ladies and gentlemen watching at home, I would like to introduce Primus Wafula. Karibu sana. Uko nyumbani unaweza piga makofi tu, hakuna shida. Karibu.
Thank you, Mitchell. Thank you so much, Mitchell, for welcoming me at Pure Pearl Foundation. My name is Primus, I'm a CPA, and I'm here for us to talk one-on-one on matters touching about taxation. So I'll move. So we just want to understand about taxation. When you hear about taxes, why? What is taxation? What's the meaning? Why pay taxes? Why does the government levy taxes? So it's going to be a one-on-one experience. It's not like a training per se, but just for us to interact and share. So taxation refers to the act of the government levying for the taxes on its individuals, the companies, and then you'll ask yourself, why should the government levy taxes? So what's the importance of the government levying taxes to individuals and the companies? The most important thing for us members to understand is that the government must support certain activities, such as funding for activities, paying salaries for people like the county people, sharing revenue across the country. So it's very important that the government must levy taxes to support all their activities. Otherwise, then we're going to have a problem. If the government does not levy taxes, we cannot support the economy, okay? The tax money for the government, when it levies, someone will ask, where is the government taking the money to? Then you'll be wondering, why should I be taxed on the income that I'm getting? The most important, like we've said, is that the government must support the activities for it to run, okay? Then who should pay the taxes? It's a good question. Why should who should pay the taxes? The most important is that you as an individual, you have a duty to pay the taxes, That is an individual, and the companies, the partnership, they must pay the taxes for the government to move on. Okay, what are the types of taxes? Then you'll be wondering, what sort of taxes does the government levy to its individuals, okay? So the most common ones is income tax, which is chargeable on the income at the end of the year. We'll have VAT, that is chargeable on goods and services. We also have PAYE. PAYE is tax levied on your salaries. At the end of the month, once you paid, you have to pay some taxes to the government. We also have gaming, lotteries. You have to pay taxes as well. We have withholding tax that comes under income tax. Okay. Then what are the key documentation that one needs when setting up a business? Okay. I know most of us are young guys and we're coming up on setting up a business so that we can support ourselves. So what sort of documents will you need, when setting up a business? The most important is you will need a business permit for you to open up a business. You need to have at least a copy of ID. You also need to be having a PIN number. Otherwise, then you cannot register for a business. Okay? And what's a PIN number? Someone will be asking, what's a PIN number and why do I need a PIN number for? It's a personal identification number that one should have in order to run a business. Once you're 18 years and above, you're supposed to apply for a PIN number. Okay? So what is the importance of having a PIN number? The personal identification number is a key crucial document that each individual should have, the company should have when setting up the business. And it's important to note that without a PIN number, you are not able to file your tax return. Okay? Without a PIN number, you'll not be able to open up a business for yourself. You also need a PIN number when securing formal employment. Nowadays, you can't get employment without having a PIN number. Documents like NSSF, NHIF, all that. You also need a PIN number, when accessing loan facilities to a bank. There's no bank that will give you a loan facility if you haven't furnished yourself a PIN number. Okay? So let's move to the next one. So you'd be wondering, where can I acquire the PIN number? What is this document and how do I go about owning one? It is simple. You just move to KRA offices. We also have Huduma offices. They can help you on registering for a PIN number. It's also simple on your PC. If you have some internet, you can always apply for that. It's just an online thing. It's very simple. So what documents will I need when applying for this document? You obviously need to have an ID. You need to have mother's ID copy, father's ID copy. You also need to furnish the taxpayer with the residence address. You also need to have, must be 18 years and above. And for case of companies, you need to have a certificate of registration that is detailing the type of business the company is running from. Then filing a return. Like Mitchell said, you need to file your tax return. Why? What is the importance of filing a tax return? Someone will say, as long as I'm paying my taxes, there's no point in me filing a tax return. It's very important that at the end of each financial year, one should file for a tax return. For individuals and both for companies and partnership as well. Okay, when should I file my tax return? That should be before 30th June at the end of each financial year. So say, for example, your financial year ends in December, you must make sure that you do your annual accounts and have the return filed by 30th of June every year. There are always penalties if you don't file. For individuals, 1,000, and for a company, penalty will be 20,000. Then we're going to talk about some taxes that we as young people are running business. We'll be asking ourselves, what sort of taxes then is the government going to ask me to pay? Some will say I have 50,000, 100,000 capital. Do I need to pay taxes? It's supposed to be everyone paying taxes. Everyone who earns some income has to pay taxes. It's not about a big company. It's not about a small individual. A tax is a tax. However small it is, the government must levy that. So there's something called minimum tax. Minimum tax, ideally, is the lowest tax that one should pay most likely for small businesses starting up. Obviously, you don't have enough capital, to pay huge taxes like big companies. But now the government has come up with a plan to have this minimum tax, and it's charged at 1% of gross sales income. Then it's filed on a quarterly basis. The first quarter will be 30th April, then another quarter will be on 30th of June. You'll have another quarter, that's 30th September. Then you'll have the final quarter, which is 30th of December, 20th December. Thereafter, you obviously have to do your accounts, calculate your accounts with the help of an accountant or an auditor, for example, if it's a limited company. Then you need now to file the tax return, the annual one. Now, say for example, you've paid your installment taxes, the 4 of them, say for example, 50,000. Then when doing your calculations, you find out that you at least have some more profit you made for the company. Then what happens? Do you not still pay the difference? Or you say, because I pay the installment taxes, it has to be there and there. So the balance of the payment must be computed, then you pay it by 30th of April of the month, the year following. So when your financial year ends in December, you have to count 4 months. That's January, February, March, and April. You must have filed your tax return and pay to the commissioner the balance of your tax. Okay. So we move to there's something also called VAT. You'll want to understand what is VAT. VAT basically is tax charged on taxable gross services and goods. It's currently charged at 16% for those goods and services that qualify for VAT. Then 0%, that's for exempt. Then you also have 8%, for fuel. It was 14% before, but it came back to 16 after the COVID relief. Okay. So VAT accounting is also simple to compute. It's basically taking your income, then you compute with your expenses, then you charge 16%. If you're in a position to pay, you'll have to pay. If it's not a payable, it's a refund, then you have to file for a refund claim. Okay. So one will be asking myself, why do I need to pay VAT when my business is very small? I've only started with 20,000, 100,000. I don't qualify for VAT. Basically, VAT is chargeable to those businesses that have at least a turnover. By turnover, I mean sales, 5 million per annum. So if you do your calculations, sales per month for 12 months, it's 5 million, then definitely you must register for VAT. And for that VAT, it's simple. You just go to online, that's iTax. You apply for VAT. Then you put in the iTax column there under obligations the VAT. You take that box, then you apply for the same. The commissioner will approve that immediately. Then you can start filing your VAT. So VAT in itself is not an expense per se, because some people also have perception that now, why am I paying VAT on items? Remember, VAT is just you collecting on behalf of the government. It's not a tax per se. Say, for example, you buy some goods for 10,000, then they have charged you VAT for 1,616%. That's 11,600. Then also when you're charging your income, when you're selling out, you also put 16% on top of your income. So it's minusing. They charged you 16% as input, and now you're charging 16% above as output. So it's supposed to be the difference between the output that's on sales and minus the input that's on purchases. The difference is what is payable to the Commission of KRA. VAT must be filed monthly, and it's filed on or before the 20th of the month following. Obviously, if you don't file, there are going to be penalties, and the penalty is 20,000 for companies, and then it's 10,000. Sorry, you're supposed to file for that. It's 10,000 the penalty. Now, say for example you've applied for VAT obligation, then you find yourself in 1 month or 2 months you haven't made a sale. What happens? Some will ask, do I go ahead and file my VAT return, or I just ignore because I haven't made any sale? So in that scenario, then you're supposed to file for something called Anil Return. Okay. So basically, Anil Return is you telling the commissioner that, look, I haven't made any sale, but all in all, I'm declaring that my income for that month was 0. Now, suppose you had some claim, a refund of maybe 10,000 as a claim balance. Then you want to file a nil return the other month because you haven't made sales. The return will obviously, you have to claim the refund of the 10,000 you had on last month. In a form there you fill, then you file with a claim. You're carrying it forward until such a time when you make the sales are payable, then you have to minus the refund and pay the difference. Okay. So it's very important that VAT is also just one of the taxes that you're supposed to claim on behalf of the government and remit. The payment for VAT nowadays is very simple. Once you file your return, it will give you 2 documents. One is the return itself, showing that you filed. The second document is called a payment registration, PRN, that is saying that this is the amount you need to pay. And once you get that document, the PRN, payment registration number, you take it together with a check or cash to any bank authorized by KRA. There are nowadays so many banks, almost every bank now accepts the VAT payment. Okay. We also have an option to pay with MOMBASA. Yeah. Okay, what's next? Move next. Then let's talk about PAYE. So there's another tax element called PAYE, that's pay as you earn. That's also another tax element. So someone will be wondering how many taxes does one has to pay. It looks like there are more. It's PAYE, minimum tax, and VAT, then income tax, corporation at the end of the year. So each category, each element of tax has its own computation. So PAYE, that's tax chargeable on income, gross income. Salaried employed people, they have to pay PAYE. Now, when should you register for PAYE if you're a small company opening up, or it's a limited company going on with business? Once you have staff on your payroll, it's important that you have to register for PAYE. Okay? It's also simple, it's not complicated to file, to register for PAYE. Go to iTax, and it's very simple. Like we said, under obligations, you log into iTax, go to obligation, tick that box for PAYE, put in the registration date, about 1 day or 2 days, you should be good to go. So PAYE is different from VAT. Yeah? VAT we say it's 16%. Minimum tax we say it's 1% quarterly. Yeah? What about PAYE? The PAYE is based on graduated scales up to a limit of 30%. Okay? So it has income brackets, bands. If one person is getting 30,000, he will not pay the same PAYE as someone handing 100,000. or a million bob. They are going to be different. And the minimum for one to pay tax currently is 24,000. So if your employees are below 24,000 per month, then obviously they don't qualify to pay PAYE. Yeah. Okay. The deadline for remitting the PAYE and filing is on the 9th of the month following. Obviously, if you don't file within that time, you're going to have some penalties. Okay. That's it. Okay. Some questions? So at this time, members, I would like to welcome someone else who has some questions. Any comments? James, you have to read for me.
Thank you so much. That was actually a very good presentation. That was a good presentation from Mr. Wafula Primus. Nafikiri mmeweza kumsikia vizuri na mahali mpo sasa mnaruhusiwa kuweza kuenda kueleza kuweza kuuliza maswali. Yuko tayari kuweza kuuliza maswali, kujibu maswali ambayo mko nayo. Labda Bwana Primus, hapa kuna comments hapa kidogo from Senior James anasema what an interesting topic for today. At least by now our $1 million question has been answered. Inaonekana katika yale mazungumzo umejaribu kuingia mahali ambapo watu wengi walikuwa wakiwa na maswali dukuduku zimewatoka kidogo. Ndio comment inatoka pale kwa Bwana Senior James. Na bwana mmoja anaitwa Delvis Njue anasema are non-profit organizations paying taxes. Hizi haya mashirika ambayo si ya kiserikali, je, pia nayo yanalipa taxes?
Okay.
If yes, do they feel nil or is there any set amount paid?
Okay, maybe I have to answer that first.
Yes, please.
Thank you. For NGOs, those are non-profit making organizations. Those ones, they don't pay taxes. But if you have employees who are earning income, then they must be subjected to pay as you earn. As long as they're employed on that NGO payroll, you must file for them, pay as you earn. It's important. They must pay taxes for PAYE only. They are not registered for VAT. Yeah, they don't. Thank you.
Okay. Asante sana kwa hilo swala. Nafikiri Bwana Delvis Njue mahali uko umeweza kusikiza Bwana Primus Wafula vile ameeleza, na kama pengine bado haujaelewa vizuri, tafadhali rudi hapo chini, jaribu pia kuelaborate kidogo swali lako ama pale mahali una dukuduku, okay, ili ukaweze kupata information zaidi kuhusiana na hilo swala. Na hapa kuna swali lingine hapa kutoka kwa Ota Mzuri, anasema Mr. Wafula, serikali mbona isiwaache wasilipe ushuru hawa wenye biashara za chini? Mbona walipe ushuru na wako na biashara za chini hawa? Mbona wasiachwe na serikali bila kulipa? Hilo swali ambalo Bwana Primus unastahili kuweza kuliweka wazi kwa yule Mr. Ota Mzuri.
Octa, thank you so much for a good question indeed. Like we said, the government has come up with a plan to ensure that they have they broaden the tax band. And now it looks like everyone has been put in the tax bracket. Even now you see, before we didn't have people paying taxes for gaming, lotteries and all that, but now you have to pay. So it's just quite important for us to understand that however small we are, that little by little, when we pay to the government, they get the funds to facilitate the daily recurrent expenses for the government. Remember, the government is also pays expenses. We need to have the police people, the defense forces are there, the medics. They have to get some money, the payroll at the end of the month. We have schools, hospitals, and all that. So the tax is for everybody, however small, however big, each one has to contribute a small share of that. Thank you.
Asante sana kwa hayo maswali. Nafikiri sasa unaweza ukaendelea kwa ile session nyingine ili tuone pia kama kutaenda namna gani. So mahali popote pale nyumbani mlipo, tafadhali fuatilia hiyo presentation vizuri, na ukiwa na dukuduku, ukiwa na swali, kuna mahali haujaelewa, tafadhali don't hesitate. Kindly just put your question forward, and then Mr. Primus Wafula will be in a position to respond to that particular question. Bwana Wafula, please, you can continue. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, James. Thank you so much. Now, I think now the last session, we want to talk about something about this digital tax. What is DST, Digital Service Tax? Yeah. So when you hear about digital tax, what's that? Or what comes in your mind, really? So digital service tax is that tax that the government has introduced of recent, starting 1st of January 2021, and that is tax charged at 1.5% on the gross income you get. And this tax has been introduced of late because most people, most organizations are doing business online platform, okay? So we have things like Jumia, platforms for money transfer, applications, services, online facilities. If you open up your phone nowadays, you'll see things popping up, people trying to do business online. So are they supposed to pay taxes, or they're not supposed to pay taxes? Remember, these are online platforms that they don't have registered offices, some of them. Yeah, they operate on mobile phones, on internet, web. So should they pay taxes or not? It's a question of yes or no, yeah? But look, ask yourself, are they making some profits? Do they make money out of doing that digital streaming, live streaming, all that, or not? So it's quite important to understand that as long as you get some income, revenue, in whichever way, you're supposed to pay some taxes to the government. So the earlier one we talked about was about business structures that have legal offices, yeah? Now for digital service tax is those businesses that do businesses mostly on online platform. So the issue is they must pay some taxes to the government as well, okay? So the tax percentage is 1.5%. Yeah, that's chargeable on any transaction they do. Say for example, you do online transfer of something, a platform, then you get 500,000 or 100,000 as income, then you just compute that figure, 1.5% of that gross income, then you pay to the government, yeah, by the 20th of the month following. So say for example, you did a service, and now it's in April, then by May on the 20th, you must file the tax return, yeah. To register for digital service tax is the same way like we did for VAT, PAYE. Once you log in your iTax, you always get that option to fill in the credentials and apply for the same. So basically, digital tax, like we said, is that income you're receiving by way of digitalization. That can be online stuff, yeah, presentations, magazines, television. Remember, these people don't have offices. Yeah, so the government has come up with a plan that they also need to understand the essence of paying some taxes so that it's fair enough for the government. Yeah, otherwise then you're going to have a huge chunk of people moving out of offices and shifting to online. Then the government is going to lose some revenue. So just putting measures, tight measures, that everyone is in the net. Yeah, so that we shoulder the burden, the all of us. Okay, let's move to the next. So there are those services that are exempted from digital service tax. Obviously, there are those online stuff that they don't pay taxes. Yeah, I'm getting it hard to read. It's too far. It's too far. Let's hang on it. Yeah, that's better. Sorry about that. Okay, it's okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Technical problem, we're sorting it out anyway. Yeah, so digital service is like we said, it's that online platform where you get some income, and it's important that each must give a small share to the government. Now, like we said, the tax percentage is 1.5%. Then you pay on that gross income. Now, at the end of the year, you've done sales. What are you supposed to do? Yeah, you also have to file a return for the same, just the normal way. You file a tax return and declare your income at the end of the year. Yeah. Move to the next. Nyuma kidogo. Nyuma. So who is eligible? Who is eligible for digital tax services? So digital shall apply to I'm just getting it hard. I can't read there. It's very Can I move? Yeah. Can I continue? Okay, so we want to look at those services exempted from DST. Services exempted from digital tax are those people that are not going to pay taxes on digital service platform. So that's online services which facilitates payment, lending, or trading for financial services. So say for example, transfer of money online through banking facilities, transfer of money from one bank to the other, transfer from your MOMBASA, transfer, but that one you don't have to pay the tax on it. Yeah, because it's not termed as a service per se. Then we also have online services provided by the government. Those online services, like those Huduma things, if the government is paying some people using that digital form or any commercial advertisement by the government, then obviously they are exempted from paying such tax. Services under Section 9.2, yeah, those are income of non-resident, such as provision of business of transmitting messages by cable, fiber, internet, radio, TV broadcasting, and satellite activities. Those ones don't pay the taxes. Then we also have withholding tax,
with respect to management and professional. So those people who are doing professional fees, management fees, they are not eligible to a digital service tax. Next. So we have digital service, VAT regulations, where the supply of digital service or digital place is made to a business in Kenya by a foreign supplier, VAT on imported services shall apply, and the Kenyan business shall account for VAT on the digital service. So like we said, VAT applies across. So even for digital service, they are eligible to pay VAT, just the normal way like any other business. You file your return, you claim your expenses, and file VAT in the same manner. Yeah, okay, next. Okay, I think that's it on digital service. It's not that complicated. It's as simple as that. So anyone who has a question can post at this moment. Thank you. Welcome. Any question, any comment as far as digital service is concerned? Thank you.
procedure ya kuweza kufile hizo nil returns. Ni nini kinahitajika ili aweze kufile hizo returns? Na ama pengine ni wapi anastahili kuenda ili akaweze kufile hizo returns. Labda hili ni swali pia ambalo ingekuwa vizuri kuongezea lile swali ambalo mwanadada amezungumza, pengine unaweza kulielaborate vizuri ili wakaweza kuelewa.
Okay. Asante. Thank you, James. Thank you for the good question. Yeah. Filing a return nowadays is easy. It's online. It was not like before you had to do manual one. Yeah. So there are two different types or categories of returns. There's that VAT return, there's the minimum tax return, then there's the income tax return at the end of the year, then there's a PAYE. So it's just online. Once you go to file the return, it will give you an option of which kind of tax you want to file for. So say for example for income tax, which is simple, at the end of the year, after computing your income, then you realize you haven't made any sale, or you didn't do any income in a year, or you are not in employment but you have a PIN. You just go to iTax, log in, then you go to file return, you will get an option for file nil return. You can do that online when you log in to KRA. You can also move to Huduma services or KRA offices. They're always happy to give their services for free. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much Bwana Primus Wafula. I think hilo swali limeweza kuelezwa vizuri na mkalielewa. Iwapo kuna swali lengine basi tuna uwezo wa kuuliza Bwana Primus Wafula, yuko hapa. Yeye kama ilivyoelezwa kutoka mwanzo, yeye ni mtu wa kuzungumza na pesa. Nafikiri maneno yamekuwa machache kwa sababu amezoea kuzungumza na pesa, lakini ameshaweza kukueleza kile ambacho unastahili kufahamu ili ukaweze kujua jinsi gani. Na kama tulivyoambiwa, sahihi imefika mwezi wa 4 na muda tu si mrefu kutoka sasa tutaanza kupata zile ujumbe fupi kutokana na kwa KRA wakituuliza, je, umeweza kufile returns? Maswali haya yanakuja wakati kama huu, na ndio maana tumeona kwamba ni vizuri wakati kama huu tuje na hii information ama tuje na hii training ili mkaweze kufahamishwa jinsi ya kuweza kujua vile unaweza kufile returns. So ukiwa pale nyumbani, kama pengine kuna jambo lolote ambalo unataka kulijua, bado tuko hapa, bado Primus Wafula tuko naye. Usiweze kupitwa kabla kupata ujumbe mahususi ambao unaweza ukakusaidia. But for now, I think tutampatia Bwana Primus Wafula nafasi kidogo apumzike, ili kama kuna lolote lile ambalo pengine uko nalo pale tukaweze kulifikia. Bwana Primus Wafula, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It's been actually good having you here.
Thank you,
tueleze haya mambo mazuri. Sisi kwetu hii inakuwa ni kama Kichinese. Lakini tukishakisikia sasa tunaona kwamba mambo yanaendelea vizuri. So by now, masikio yamefunguka, macho yamefunguka, tuna uwezo wa kuangalia haya maneno vile atakavyokuwa. Thank you very much. I think we want to refer back to Bwana
thank you so much.
DJ Lenium, please. Chukua hata moyo kunugia.
Asante. All right, that was James Katana from Pure Pearl Foundation and Primus Wafula from Salu Solutions. And as we're almost done, I would say we are almost done. Just vile amesema, accountants don't have a lot to say. Si kama sisi creatives ambao tunaweza tengeneza story na saa 10 bado tutakuwa tunafukuzwa hapa kwa microphone. We have a lot to say. He's straight to the point, went straight to the point. So I hope at the end of the day, you have gotten the most essential bit of why you pay taxes, when you need to pay taxes, what type of people pay taxes, and how much is involved and when. Because hizo ndo maswali sana uulizwa at the end of the day. There are a few people I want to thank who have been watching online with us since we kicked off an hour ago. It's very good to recognize them, and it goes without going. It won't be bad. We have House of Kikoi, thank you so much for watching. We have Didali Dides, thank you so much. Nairobian Majali, Ali Hamisi, Ziri Isa Athman, thank you so much. Mal Ruben, Zamzam Abdi, Esha Muhammad, Musa Chirunje, Paul Tito, Mwanarusi Zani, we have Senior James Mwenyewe, Mwawaza Nation, Reverend Ngumbao, Arafat Mukasa. We have the whole team at SWAHILIPOT Hub who have been with us online the whole time. We have Aota Mzuri, Hadija Shafi, Rajab Salim Snow. Thank you so much. And I'm seeing a question here, which is going out to Primus. Maybe akirudi hapa atajibu swali. Swali muhimu sana. Kama nimesahau KRA pin yangu, nafanya nini? Kama nimesahau KRA pin yangu, nafanya nini? That is the first question. Kama nimesahau ama kama nimepoteza, nafanya nini? Question hiyo ni question 1A na 1B. Kuna 1C, kuna yule akona pin yake, anajua pin yake amesave kwa simu, labda ama ameandika mahali, lakini kwa sababu ya kufile ama kufanya hizo vitu zote amesahau email address. Sasa hapo sijui anasaidika kivipi. Very important, number 1. Number 2, mimi ambaye, and I think it's a question that I've seen on another page, it's very good, I can raise it here. Kama mimi ambaye nimekuwa nikifile returns, labda nilifile returns 2005, 2006, 2007, then maybe because of one way or another, I did not file my returns for the next 10 years. Paka 2017. 2017 nilikuwa na uwezo wa kufile returns, lakini nilikuwa naogopa kwa sababu ya ile penalty ama fine. So for the last 4 years nimekuwa na uwezo, yani nimekuwa nikifanya kazi, lakini nafaa kufile returns, lakini sija file. This is 2021, ni mwezi wa 4, kwa sababu ni April. June inakaribia. Labda bwana Primus utuambie hapo pia nasaidika kivipi, because Mkenya akisikia anafaa kulipa fine, hapo inakuwa shida. Will it affect me pia? It's very important. Tell me what are the consequences first of all. Alafu, will it affect me after? If I decide maybe naona labda penalty ni kubwa, will it affect me nikisema wacha nisifile? Hiyo ndo muhimu. Alafu pia labda kuna mtu mwingine pia anauliza, haja file for a long time na kampuni ameenda sasa wanaanza kufile. Will it be a problem? Those are some of the questions. Labda bwana Primus ukikuja ukijibu, tukingoja maswali mengine tafadhali.
Thank you, Mitchell, for the good question. Thank you so much. Basically, if you happen to lose your PIN number, yeah, it's always simple. It's not difficult. You can check on your email. If you are able to open your email address, you can see your PIN number there, 1. Number 2, you can always move to KRA offices with your ID number. They are able to take that out for you. Huduma services, if you go with your ID, you can easily get your PIN number. You can even also refer to your employment records. Some attach with the PIN number on your payslip. Yeah. So if you forgot the password, what do you do? Someone will ask, I forgot my password. I can't log in the iTax. It's also simple. If you can remember the email address you used to apply for your PIN, you just go to that iTax page, you open, you put the PIN number, then down there you say forgot password. Once you say forgot password, it will prompt you to put your email address. It will go there directly. Then you follow your email and you'll get the credentials on how to get that. Okay. The other question?
The other question was, sija file returns.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Michan. Okay, yeah. Penalties will always be charged if you haven't filed your tax return at the end of the financial year. For individuals, you will be charged 1,000 per annum. For companies, 10,000. So if you forgot your return, it's important that you have to file them. Just file nil. It's going to charge you a penalty of 1,000. Then that difference, if it's for 10 years, then you file nil return, it has a penalty of 10 years, 1,000 per year. So you then have to pay that 10,000. Alternatively, you can ask for a waiver from KRA. A waiver is you explaining to KRA that, look, I forgot to file my tax return. Obviously, the taxman is going to be happy, saying you forgot, and it's my income for me. But you explain to them that you were not able to file a tax return, give some reasons. I was sick, I was not able to access my email. they can always give you a waiver. In that case, they waive all the penalties from the system, and then you are cleared. But always remember, at the end of each financial year, by June, you must just go there and file a nil return. Is very simple. It's not complicated. Thank
Okay,
you.
Mr. Primus, before we go to the next question, back to that question.
Yes.
How does someone go about getting that waiver? We mentioned waiver. So how do Mimi, ambaye I'm watching you right now, sija file returns 5 years. So that is nil tasawa, and then penalty will be 5,000 shillings because
Yes.
1,000 for each year, right?
Yes.
So your process, labda mimi sina hiyo 5,000, nataka kwenda ku get waiver. How do I go about it?
Thank you so much. That's a good question indeed. Yeah, a waiver is online. Yeah, once you are able to log into your iTax system, there's an option there for dates and waiver. You just say apply for waiver, request for waiver. Yeah, then once you do that, it's just a box that will come there. Then you'll have to write a small explanation on a Word document. Then you attach, it will tell you to submit by pulling that document from the computer. So you basically tell the commissioner that, look, I didn't file my taxes for 10 years and the penalty is 10,000, please waive my taxes. So you upload that in the system, then you send it directly to KRA. Once they get that, they will give you an appointment with your task manager or a station manager for your PIN allocation. Then you'll have an appointment, then you'll explain to him that I was not able to file my tax, then they can always give a waiver.
Okay,
Thank you.
so then the next question that was asked was, I have not filed my returns for 5 years, and now I am in a company where they want to pay ile kukatwa, NSSF, taxes, KRA, nini. So kama akikatwa kwa mshahara this year, na hajalipa hizi 5 years, will it come and affect?
No, it will not affect. This is a different company you're getting employment from, and it's just a normal way they are going to deduct PAYE, so you won't be penalized for that. Thank you.
Okay, so there's another question from Rose Akinyi. Anauliza, how do you file returns, especially mtu alikuwa anafanya for a month, not employed, but employed for a short-term period. Now you can withholder's certificate. That is number one. And number two, can we, maybe if you can explain more on that.
Thank you so much. If you work for 3 months or 4 months in informal employment, you file the tax in the normal way at the end of the year. So you only claim for 3 months that you worked for. Say, for example, you worked for 20,000 per month, that's 60,000. So your income was 60, and the PAYE was a certain figure you put in, and you file, and you put the say relief for the 3 months, and you file your return. Yeah, as simple as that. If you happen to have withholding taxes, then it's a different case. Yeah, that one you'll have to do something we call financial statements. Withholding tax is that tax that is deducted at source. So say you're doing professional consultancy or doing some jobs, then we deducted 5%. That was on the income. So you compute the income you worked for. Then you file the normal return, the normal way we do, put the income and the few expenses you incurred. So it will give you a profit and loss. Then you put the withholding taxes. So for example, your withholding taxes came to 10,000. There's a box there down, you have to put 10,000. So that the withholding taxes cancels off with what's in the system together with the income. It's as simple as that. Thank you.
Okay, maybe another question coming in is, what is the penalty? I know you talked about it, but for clarity for a viewer maybe who just came on board, what is the penalty for someone who has not been paying their taxes for more than 10 years? Let's say they used to pay taxes,
yes,
then they stopped suddenly for 10 years, and labda huu ndo mwaka wa 10 inakaribia June ndio hiyo. they have not paid taxes for the last 10 years,
Yes.
but they used to pay taxes. So they have a KRA PIN,
Yes.
they have all that. What is the penalty? I
The
know the
pen-
penalty, as you said, is 1,000 per annum,
Yes.
but if they don't pay, is there a penalty like you will be arrested or you will not be able to earn your pay, as in that type of penalty?
Thank you, Mitchell. The penalty by default is 1,000 per annum. Yeah. So, but if you get income and you want to pay for that year, still fine, you can pay and file the return. But now you're gonna have problems when you want to get a tax compliance certificate. Okay. Say for example, you want to apply for a certain a job, a certain contract. You need something called a tax compliance. So if you have debts in your system, the system cannot give you a tax compliance, so you're gonna have problems. So it's just important that you have to pay the penalty, or you ask for that option of a waiver. As simple as that, there's no shortcut. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is a question from a creative. A creative is an MC, and he has been given a job. There are these government organizations that they cannot give you a job unless you have a tax compliance certificate. So question number one comes, where do you get your tax compliance certificate? And number two, how do you file for it and the process? Because he or she could be missing out on a lot of good payment, especially now during COVID. Umeitiwa kakazi na umeambiwa kuja UMC, lakini tunataka tax compliance certificate yako. Wewe uko na pin yako ya KRA, umekwama, umechanganyikiwa, hujui hii tax compliance ni gani tena. So maybe explain what you mean by the tax compliance certificate, then how to apply for it.
Thank you so much. Good question indeed. A tax compliance is a clearance from KRA that you in good books with the government, that you've paid your taxes and you clean. Yeah. So what is the importance of having a tax compliance? Is to ensure that each entity and an individual will all comply. It's like a regulation, kidogo, yeah, to make us be responsible. And it's a very crucial document that you can't even apply for almost all government jobs without it. Getting one is easy. You just go online. There's an option, apply for tax compliance certificate. Then there's that box you will see there. Just on the heading on the iTax page, there's an option for apply for tax compliance. Then you put in the reasons, tax compliance, just for compliance. And once you submit that, and you clear, you don't have debts, it will come automatically. The tax compliance will be in force for at least 12 months. Yeah, thank you.
So a tax compliance certificate is renewable every year?
It's renewable each year. After 12 months, it expires.
Thank you. And then maybe you have mentioned the process, but you haven't mentioned, is it free or inakatwa kwa taxes pia?
Thank you so much. A tax compliance is a free document. Yeah, it's a free document. Thank you.
So all I need to do is go on the website.
Yes.
Maybe would you happen to know the website of it, just for the viewer who's watching?
Yes.
What is the web address?
My email address.
No, the web address for...
That's iTax.
iTax.
Just go to a web page.
Yes.
And log in iTax.
iTax.
Type iTax.
Yes.
It will
takes
open
you straight to the page.
Straight. Then you put your PIN number.
Yes.
Put your password.
Yes.
Log in. Go on the extreme right.
Okay.
Apply for tax compliance.
Okay.
If you apply for that and everything is fine, it comes instant without issues.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Now for someone who is joining the hustling race, ametana 18 juzi na amefikiria anataka kuingia into employment, anataka kutafuta kazi, so ameambiwa lazima kuwe na certificate of good conduct, lazima kuwe na endorsement letter kutoka mahali, alafu anaambiwa lazima kuwe na PIN. Hajui ataanza wapi. Anajua tu mimi huona advert ya KRA taxes. Yes. How does he or she apply for a KRA PIN?
Applying for a PIN is simple. Yeah, you need to have your ID, original ID, then a copy of your ID for your mom, your dad, the official residence, the telephone number, Then you go to iTax page. That's same page you're applying for your tax compliance. Once you open that, it gives you an option. Down there, apply for a new PIN. It's a step-by-step process. It's not complicated. If you have challenges, you can walk to Huduma Center. They will get it for you under KRA desk. Thank you.
So you really don't have to go physically to the KRA offices or to the Huduma Center. I can do everything online.
You can do everything online. If it becomes quite challenging for you,
Yes.
then you can engage a cyber cafe people, cyber cafe.
Okay.
But they're going to charge you something small.
Mkenya ni Mkenya, lazima tengze yake. All right. So when I apply online, I will not be charged anything.
No, you can't be charged anything.
And what about the printing of the form? Because I need to have that copy. Most of the times you find unaambiwa na accounts wa kampuni huko nitumie pin yako. So huwezi tuma tu namba, lazima utumie document ya PDF. So yes.
So the PIN certificate is important. You have to have that document. It's also easy. On the extreme left, under my PIN obligation, you just click on it, then it will prompt you down there, then it will say reprint tax, reprint PIN certificate. Una print to hapo mara moja, naingia kwa print. Then you can print as many as 1 million and put it in your house. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Another question coming in would be, a Kenyan who has a KRA PIN and has been paying their taxes, akapata greener pastures and got a job in Tanzania. They moved to Tanzania. Now, what is the process of paying taxes? Because you will not be paying your taxes in Kenya again, you are working elsewhere. So one, when I'm working in Tanzania, and maybe my contract for Tanzania is a strictly 5-year contract. So that means for 5 years, I will work in Tanzania, and after those 5 years, I'll come back to Kenya, and I'll continue working in Kenya. So one, what is the process when I am not away? And two, when I come back?
Okay, when you're working in a different country, you treat it as an expatriate, because now you're working in a different country that has different tax regime system. So you will not be filing your taxes on the Kenyan tax one, because that income is based in that country. So on your end here, you have just to file the normal way, the nil returns, since it's not income that is sourced here directly in Kenya. So at the end of the year, once you get your income in the other country, you will come and declare the same. But there's something called double taxation system regime, where if you've taxed in another country, you cannot again be taxed in another country. It's going to be double taxation. So it's a system arranged between one country to the other, so that you don't pay twice. Yeah.
Okay, so I've understood the double taxation. I've understood that bit. Maybe just one more question before I let you go. Okay. And that would be that I have filed my taxes all this time. I've never had a problem. And I would love to apply, as you've said. Is it the same process? Just as you said you're considered, I think the word you said was a patriot. Expatriate. Thank you very much. So how do I go about filing that? Because labda mimi sijui. Na kule mali nilifanya Tanzania, walikuwa wananikata. So now I've come back. I don't know where to start. Do I also get this on the iTax page, or do I have to go to Huduma Center?
It will still be on the iTax page. Everything that you have to apply for income tax is on the web. Yeah, and also it depends whether you are on employment income in another country or it was consultancy. Yeah, if it's consultancy, utakatwa withholding taxes there. Zitaenda tu kwa pini yako. Then if it's employment income, itakuwa subject to the normal PAYE kwa your country.
Hi.
Thank you.
Kuna vile za kujitoa kwa KRA?
Yeah, it's a good question really. But the question is, why do you want to move out of that KRA? Okay, once you apply for a PIN certificate, and you wish to be removed from KRA, I think it's quite challenging. And it's a question that I'll advise you
As
to
silly as
visit
it
KRA
sounds, maybe
offices.
some people are asking that. Because labda ameona hizi taxes zimekuwa mingi Kenya,
Yeah.
mi nataka kujitoa kwa hii system.
The most important with taxes is just compliance. Yeah, you manage your accounts well, so that you don't pay too much taxes and you don't pay little taxes. So it's just about you managing yourself finances well. Yeah, thank you.
How do you get to know if you are paying too much taxes or less?
You look at your income, the gross profit margins that you want. If your margins are fine, then I don't think it's a problem. Yeah, but also you have to make sure that you maintain proper records of your books, so that you don't pay too much or too little. So you account for everything. All the income has been posted in the system, and all the expenses, you've claimed them, so that you don't underpay and you don't overpay. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
My question is, how can someone be an agent of KRA so that you can help people? Are you paying so that you may be an agent, or?
Thank you. Good question. Basically, a tax agent is someone acting on behalf of KRA in terms of ensuring people are compliant with the regulations and the taxes. So you don't get paid being an agent of KRA, and you just apply to KRA offices. They give you an agency. And being an agent means you can sensitize people to pay taxes, advising them that paying taxes is important. The only people I know that get paid are whistleblowers. Yeah, if you whistleblow and say so-and-so has not paid the taxes and the government gets that, then you can get paid.
The cyber people, are they agents or what?
They are not agents. They're only just logging on the system using internet.
At the moment, when you log in at the system,
Yes.
they tell you you must be an agent so that you may apply for someone, KRA PIN or what, at the moment.
Okay, I haven't seen that, but it's a good question. I need to consult on the same, then I can get back to you. But applying for a PIN is always straightforward. It's not complicated. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What I wanted to ask is, since the government is collecting now the taxes, and they are very keen on who is paying and who is not, can you also get the same advantage of knowing how the money is being broken down after it's been collected? Because we just need it. I think there's that transparency of how the funding is being used.
Yes.
is very important for the contributors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. People always complain that the taxes, they are deducted, it's misappropriated. But that question I can see how I can answer it back. But the most important is that being compliant and paying taxes is important, because taxes is a must for the government to get taxes. And in some nations, it's a capital offense if you don't pay your taxes. Yeah, so let's just comply. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, madam.
I deal with detergents.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So when I wanted to take my products to the supermarket, they told me I need to have an ETR receipt for that. So with the ETR, when I went to the KRA main office, they told me I should be having a turnover, just as you've said, of 5 million per annum, right? Yeah, so my business is not yet there yet. And now some of my clients are taking products without the ETR machine. So how can you advise me? Should I take the ETR so that I get into the supermarkets, or should I just continue with these other clients because I have not reached making 5 million per annum?
Thank you, madam. It's a good question. Thank you. Like I said before in the introduction on VAT, is that you must have 5 million to qualify for VAT registration. However, some people can apply for voluntary VAT. It's not a must that it's 5 million. There are some people who earn 1 million bob or 500,000, but they have voluntarily applied for VAT. The reason being, they want compliance, because most of these entities you go now, they want an ETR. So I'll advise you to weigh an option of, if you don't have an ETR, the impact of you losing that business, the magnitude, what is the quantum? And on the other hand, you can register voluntarily, and in that case get the VAT obligation. Then you can acquire an ETR machine, so that each sale you do, you can punch in the ETR. So it's an option. You have to choose which one is better for you. So 5 million is just the threshold, but you still can apply for voluntary tax VAT obligation. Yeah, but you have a look at it and see which way will work better for you. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Primus, just before we close, because I'm seeing we are almost done, the last question would be, and maybe this one would go to so many people who deal with companies in terms of payments. They're always, especially service providers, they're always told, lazima ukuje na ETR. ETR. So for those maybe who do not understand, ETR ni nini? You can just explain what the ETR is. And then number two, what happens when you go somewhere and you are just given a normal receipt without the ETR? Will it come and have consequences, especially for you, who is the third party in terms of payment?
Thank you, Mitchell, for the good question indeed. Yeah, an ETR is an electronic device signature. Yeah, it's basically showing that whichever item you're dealing with, VAT has been charged or has been claimed, whichever way. So it's important that you maintain an ETR for those entities you feel they need an ETR. And it's just a small gadget, a machine that you acquire from the electronic shops. Then when you make a sale of 20,000, you punch in, it gives you that printout. Now, you must be asking yourself, why do I need an ETR for? It's important. If you get an invoice or a receipt that does not have an ETR on it, then such receipt you cannot claim it when you're doing the VAT. Remember we said VAT, the 16% is you take the sales, then you minus the purchases, the output and the input. So you must have that ETR machine on that invoice to claim it. Otherwise, the taxman will disallow the same. So you will end up paying too much taxes since you cannot claim the one on the purchase kwa sababu haina ETR, kale ka ETR. And ETR, they come two. There's the physical ETR, ile karatasi inawekwa juu. Then there's another one called electronic signature. Sometimes you get you gonna maandishi letters very long at the bottom. It's called it's electronic in a punch yenyewe. Yeah, so when you see an invoice, you gonna use all small letters down there. That's also a signature showing it's an ETR one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Primus Wafula. Maybe for a viewer who has not thought of a question right now, but has thought of you as a probable financial advisor and would love to get in contact with you. Maybe, I know it is very hard for accountants to be chatty, I would say, but are you available on social media? Or do you have a special contact you can give? Because contacts are also very personal. So maybe do you have a contact you can give someone? And maybe on social media someone can inbox you. How do they get in touch with you?
Okay, so I'll arrange that with Mitchell. I'll share my contacts. And then if someone needs some assistance.
You can say them there because they're watching, if you
They're
don't
watching.
mind.
Okay, I'm available on mobile 0720 406 508. That's my telephone number. I'm also available on Facebook, Primus Wafula. Then also on email, primuswafula@gmail.com. And then one last parting shot. I'll encourage my fellow youth members that whenever you're starting up a business, it's quite challenging, but we have to do business at the end of the day. Most important is you must maintain proper records of the income and your expenses. Those two files, the sales file and the purchases file, and your bank statement, so that your house is in order, so that at the end of the year, it becomes easy to compile your documents and file a tax return. Otherwise, then if you don't maintain, you're gonna have problems yearly. You end up running up and down like a headless chicken, looking for, where did I put this invoice? Where did I, oh my God. I think I bought some seats last year. Where is the invoice? You start now checking down in the boxes, in the lockers, and you can't find them. Then you hear the tax money saying, look, your tax return is expired. You have to file it today by midnight. So it's important that making your house neat, it's very important. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Primus Wafula. It's good when you have an expert in this area, and I'm sure today he was on the spot for a while because those questions were really taking him on board. So once again, as you see on your screen, the details are there of how you can get Mr. Primus. You can get him on cell phone, on email, and please, for those on cell phone, please keep it professional. Ukienda ukipita mpaka utakuwa unachoma na tutaki kuchoma tafadhali. Very important. But otherwise, thank you so much, especially for those who will be viewing this because this is live. This feed will still be available even after we are done, and you still have questions. Please drop your questions on the comment box and we'll be able to push them to James Katana from PurePal and also Primus Wafula from Salu Solutions, and your questions will be answered because you're using your Facebook account. We will DM you back your answers and that will work well. Mr. Primus Wafula is also at SWAHILIPOT Hub, so just in case you need your questions answered in person, please make that opportunity of dropping here. So courtesy of PurePal Foundation, Global Opportunity Youth Network, and SWAHILIPOT Foundation, we want to say thank you so much for being with us for the past 90 minutes. It's been good having you on board. Thank you so much, and remember, keep it here because these talks will be coming up more and more often. We had the business law, we had taxation, and we have one. There's one coming up. You saw me looking on the side. I'm trying to, I'm finding out. So in the next 2 weeks, we'll be having another topic. So keep it on these pages and you'll be able to find out what is coming next, because at the end of the day, you matter and it is you we want to build empowerment. Just as Mr. Primus has said, as a youth, he's empowering you and pushing that, go for that business. At the end of the day, let me tell you, let me give you a good idea. Companies nowadays reduce numbers. Companies nowadays will reduce your salary. Be your own boss, make your own business. And if you want to reduce your salary, it is very okay. But make sure you pay your taxes. My name is Michelle Otieno. Thank you so much for being with us and keep it here. Thank you.